Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and guess what? This isn't one from the archives. This is a really recent journal page. I created this using a page that I did on a recent class with Dina Wakley at Art from the Heart in Harrogate. So this was a piece of paper that we'd decorated using some neon paints and adding some black marks on for contrast, and then I decided I would tear it into a grid and stick it in my book. So I'm loving the torn edges, and then I decided once I opened my book and thought I'm going to work on this page that I would add some more colours. So I'm using a bit of mustard because I wanted to bring some warmth to this as well. Looking at it now, I'm kind of thinking some neon colours would have probably worked quite well on here too. But I have to be honest, surprising myself here, I am loving the mustard colour. It's one of my favourite yellows. It's one of those colours that I can't wear without looking really ill, but using it in my art journal, I'm really loving that warmth that it brings. So this is the triangle fence stencil, and I'm using iris through this stencil. You must be sick of seeing me use iris. I'm afraid I'm just going to be using it a lot because it's my favourite purple. I'm just adding a little bit of stenciling onto each of these little grids. Just kind of making them have that commonality really, so that it's all nice and cohesive and working together. And then you've got to bring the splatters out, so grabbing the gloss, the white gloss, I'm just adding a crazy amount of splatters. So then once that was dry, I've grabbed the old school mask and stencil set, and I'm going to be creating a figure myself. So I'm going to draw through, or is it round? Can't remember. Round the mask onto some white paper and cut it out and use it almost in the sense of like Dina sells those chipboard figures. I'm kind of creating my own figure to add onto my page. So that's another way that you can use these stencils to create your own figures and shapes. So just drawing around in pencil, and then I'm going to cut it out. And I was going to use scissors to cut it out, and I ended up using my craft knife just because actually it was a lot easier. As you know, I do a lot of cutting with my craft knife. I've got that course on my website called Alter Cut Create, where you can create your own cutout journal completed from start to finish. Yeah, it's been one of my most popular courses. So yeah, you can hop over to my website and have a look at that. So for me, using my craft knife to do this, it wasn't a big deal, and actually was easier than using my scissors. I really don't like fussy cutting, so maybe I've found a way around it. I don't know. So this is a Fiskars craft knife. It's really comfortable to hold. The blades are super easy to replace, nice and safe. There's no risk of slicing your fingers off while you are taking the blades out and putting new ones in. So yeah, a little bit easier than the scalpel that I used to use, which I do still use occasionally, but I think this is definitely my favourite one now. So just taking my time, cutting this out really carefully. I'm not wanting to end up chopping bits off. And just making sure that that's going to look nice and crisp on my page. So once I'd done that, I then grabbed my archival ink, and I'm just going to add a little bit of black edging around the figure. That's just a nice way to kind of finish off and just help give it more definition. I mean, I know it's a great contrast with my page already with it being white, but I kind of quite like to do this sometimes. This was a bit fiddly, but it did have the right effect when I was finished. So then I'm also adding a bit of text stamping onto the figure as well, just to add a little bit more interest to that too. And that is my Shoot for the Stars text stamp. It's got really small text on it. Of course, I've got to give my figure a little heart. It kind of goes without saying. And more and more I'm starting to use my stapler. It's so quick, it's so easy, and it just adds almost another texture to your page, I suppose. I was going to staple the figure in here, but couldn't make it reach where I wanted it to go. So I've grabbed my double-sided tape, and I'm also going to use a little bit of glue stick as well, just for it to be extra well stuck in. If you notice, because I've got those pieces of watercolour paper on my page, they are not lying flat with the rest of my page. So I'm going to use some glue as well, and I think that is a sticky glue from Art by Marlene, just to stick that onto my journal page. It's going to help it to stick with all those adhesives on there, the different types. Once it's in, it's not coming out. And then after I'd done this, I grabbed a Stabilo oil pencil and just added a line underneath my figure. So even though the feet are touching the bottom of the page, I kind of want to make it feel more like it belongs by kind of grounding it on my page. So I'm just going to do some scribbling with my Stabilo oil pencil, and then water activate that just to soften those lines. And then kind of that, my figure, I feel it makes more sense because it's then stood on the bottom of my page. It's just one of those things that I have to do. Okay, so then I wanted more contrast on the rest of my page. So I had some bits of white paper left over from cutting out the figure silhouette, so I decided I would make some little white hearts to go onto some of the grids that are on my page, and then that just like adding another element really, and kind of using what's already on my desk in front of me. I'm not needing to get anything else out, using up these scraps. And then yeah, I don't know, just I do love using hearts and circles. I think are two of my favourite things to use. And of course I'm going to be looking for odd numbers on the squares, and of course I'm using 3 squares. Not only that, I've got like 1 or 3 hearts on the squares too, so all the time kind of thinking about those odd numbers and looking to make sure that my page is balanced, so I've got things on the right and things on the left, and to me that kind of feels like my page works. A perfect example of knowing when your page is balanced, yesterday when I was teaching my in-person class in Chesterfield, one of the ladies on the class was saying, I just feel like I need to put some paint down here. And I said, well, that's probably your brain telling you that your page isn't quite balanced without it down there. So do it. If you often, if you're thinking, I think I could maybe do with more paint there or another image there, you're probably right. There's nothing to lose by giving it a try. Okay, so then of course I've got to use my dotty stamp. I've found an amazing hack, which I'm sure lots of you will know already. My dotty stamp was getting completely caked in ink. I've just doused it in hand sanitizer, and it's not come up new, but it's lifted loads of the ink off. These are the art cards from Dina. I am now just looking for a word prompt to use on my page. So I'm just going to select a card. I'm giving them a bit of a shuffle, and then I'm just going to pull one out and see what the prompt is. Calm. And then I look through the type ledger papers and find a quote that kind of fits with that, or one that speaks to me about that word. And I'm also going to use the block alphas just to stamp out the word calm. Sorry, I can't think. To stamp out the word calm so that I can put that on my page as well, just as a kind of a mark of the card that I picked. I've stamped that onto white as well. I'm going to cut those letters out individually and get those stuck onto my page. So once I've got that stuck on, I'm then adding on the quote from the type ledgers that I found. And that is pretty much how this page came together. So sometimes it's fun to open your journal and use a page that's already got a bit of a start on it, because some of the thinking is done already. And creating in these grids is such a great way to do that. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again soon.